What's up guys, Kevin here from thesportsgeek.com, and in this video we're going to go over my DraftKings NFL Week 4 picks. Alright, so before we move on to the Week 4 picks, let's just take a quick look at my Week 3 picks. Overall, pretty average week. I didn't hit it big like I did in Week 2, unfortunately. I had a lot of solid picks, a lot of high scorers, but unfortunately it was one of the highest scoring weeks that we'll see in fantasy football. A lot of really high scores. So my solid picks here, I had Le'Veon Bell and Antonio Brown. They both put up big games. Could have done better if Big Ben was in for the whole game. I had Randall Cobb, who went off on Monday Night Football. And then if you guys noticed in the last week's video, I mentioned Devontae Freeman as a running back pick. He was the highest scoring play of the week, I believe, 45.3 points. So congrats if you guys put him in your lineups. You probably made a little bit of money with him. Demaryius Thomas, 23.2 picks, solid play there. And then I had some busts here on the right. Nick Foles and Jared Cook for St. Louis didn't do much at all, 7.88 points and 1.7. My defense, I mentioned the Texans were going to be my contrarian pick. I knew a lot of people would be on the Seahawks. They didn't really turn out for me, 6 points. And then tight end Rudolph only got me 3.4 points. So overall, pretty average week. Didn't hit it big, but I'm hoping to hit it big here in Week 4. All right, so before I get started with my Week 4 picks, I just want to mention that these are for guaranteed prize pool tournaments. So the big contest at DraftKings, we're going to go with a bit more risky picks for these type of big tournaments. And also that these picks aren't all the picks I have for the week. I usually choose around 20 to 30 players and I mix them in between a bunch of different lineups, getting as close to the $50,000 salary as I can. So I'm going to give out as many picks as I can, but they're not all the picks I have for the week. And lastly, there's two different contests at DraftKings. We've got the Thursday night contest that include the Thursday night game between the Steelers and the Ravens. And then there's also, those contests include the Sunday morning game that's going off early in London, England. And then other than that, we have the regular Sunday contest. So first, we're going to look at a Thursday night contest only play. We've got a stack with Joe Flacco at 6,000 and Steve Smith, 6,200. They're going to be facing a weak Steelers secondary, and the Steelers are without Big Ben, so the Ravens might have the ball a little more than they would if Ben was playing. Flacco has been great lately. He's thrown for 384 and 362 yards over his last 2 games, and that included 4 touchdowns and 2 interceptions. And then Steve Smith has been his favorite target. Steve Smith has gotten 23 catches and over 300 yards and 2 touchdowns the last 2 games. So he's averaging over 150 yards the last 2 games. Not sure if he's going to be able to keep that production up. He might be a bit higher owned in the Thursday night contest because of that as well. But I still like him at the 6,200 price, and I'll stack him with Flacco in a couple of my lineups for Thursday contests. Next here, again, this is a pick that can only be put in the Thursday night contest. It's Rishard Matthews at 4,400, Dolphins wide receiver who play in London, England this week. So it's going to be an early Sunday game. So in Matthews' last 2 games, he's caught 6 passes in both games, and he's gotten 115 and 113 yards. And he has 3 touchdowns on the season as well. Each week his targets have gone up too, which is a good sign. So it started with 6, then 7, and 10. So Rishard Matthews is quickly turning into one of Tannehill's favorite targets. And at 4,400, I like him as a value pick for the Thursday night contest. All right, so next we've got quarterback Derek Carr at 5,300. He's having a great season so far, completing 63.3% of his passes, 5 touchdowns, just 1 interception for a 102.4 QB rating. And despite putting up big points at DraftKings the last 2 weeks, his price is still 5,300 this week, facing a weak Bears defense. He's got a lot better receiver options this year to throw to, and I like his upside for a cheap price. So Derek Carr, 5,300, will be one of my top QB plays of the week. So with Derek Carr, I'm going to either use Amari Cooper or Michael Crabtree, or I might stack them both in a couple lineups. These guys are 2 of Carr's favorite targets. Cooper has 31 targets through 3 games, and Crabtree has 33 targets through the first 3 games. Cooper's most likely going to be higher owned. He already has 2 100-plus yard games already on the season, but Crabtree does have upside as well. He's a cheaper price. He might be a little lower owned. He has 1 100-yard game so far. So I wouldn't even mind stacking them both in the same lineup. If Carr goes off, one of the 2 will probably go off, if not both of them, for pretty solid games. So I'm going to be mixing up my stacks with Carr with these 2 guys. First running back here, we've got Frank Gore at 4,700. He had his first solid game of the year last week versus Tennessee, but his price only went up $200 from 4,500, so he's still a pretty good price. He had 22.4 DraftKings points last week with 87 yards and 2 touchdowns, and he was averaging 6.1 yards per carry. So he had a real good game. I'm hoping he can build on that. The Colts should be playing with a lead against Jacksonville and running the ball. So I think Frank Gore is a good value play at under $5,000 for a running back. Carlos Williams, $3,400. So this Buffalo running back is only a play if LeSean McCoy is out. If LeSean McCoy is out, Williams will get the majority of the carries it's expected, and he has been great so far this year. So he's had just 24 carries over 3 games, but he's turned that into 186 yards and 3 touchdowns, which is averaging out to 7.8 yards per carry. If LeSean McCoy is out, he will be highly owned, but he's definitely a must-have in some of your lineups. He should put up pretty good numbers, especially for that really cheap $3,400 price. So Carlos Williams is my second running back play for week 4. At wide receiver, I'm going to be going with DeAndre Hopkins quite a bit, $7,300. He's an elite receiver, and that's a pretty good price for him. He's been targeted 11 plus times in each game so far this year. He's got 22 catches for 252 yards and 3 touchdowns. And also factor in that Houston might be trailing a pretty good Falcons team. They might be forced to throw the ball around a bit, and Hopkins will get his looks. So I like him at a pretty cheap price for an elite receiver. Next up here, we've got my tight end of the week, Jimmy Graham at $6,000. So Graham is the highest priced tight end here with Gronk on a bye week. I'm not huge on high-priced tight ends, but he is in a pretty good spot. Detroit has one of the worst pass defenses so far this year. Graham's coming off a big game with 7 catches, 83 yards, and a touchdown on 9 targets. They play Monday Night Football in Seattle. I think it's a pretty good spot against a pretty weak Detroit secondary. I think Wilson has found a connection with Graham a little bit. Other than Green Bay, he's gotten quite a few looks. So I'm expecting that again this week, and I'm expecting him to put up some points. I'll pay up for Jimmy Graham in some of my lineups this week. And then to round off my DraftKings NFL Week 4 picks, I've got 5 more picks here for you guys. I like Randall Cobb at $7,400. He's going to be extremely high owned, but I will throw him in lineups. Same with Julio Jones. He's the highest priced receiver, but I can't leave him out of all my lineups. I will include him in some, even though, again, he will be pretty highly owned. I've got to include him in some lineups. He's an absolute machine out there. Carlos Hyde is a good cheap running back option at $5,100. They're going up against Green Bay. I think they're going to try to run the ball quite a bit against the Green Bay team who hasn't been too good against the run so far this year. So I like Hyde at $5,100. And then you got Russell Wilson playing Monday Night Football against the Lions at $7,100. And then we've got Gary Barnidge, tight end for Cleveland at $3,100. He's coming off a big game last week. I think his ownership level will be up there, but I do like him as one of the cheap plays for a tight end this week. So there you have it, guys, my DraftKings NFL Week 4 picks. If you enjoyed this video, let me know by clicking the thumbs up button on YouTube so I know to keep making them for you guys, and I know that you guys are enjoying them. Again, if I can get 100 likes this week, you guys easily passed that last week, but if we can get 100 likes again, I'll do a Week 5 video. So just click the thumbs up button on YouTube and let me know. And if you guys want my free lineup tool to help me win over $100,000 in week 2, you can get access to that for free by using the link in the YouTube description. I paid over $1,000 to get this made for me, but I'm giving it out to you guys for free. So if you haven't already, get that in the YouTube description below. All right, as always, good luck in week 4. Hope you guys kill it. Hopefully I can kill it. Hopefully we can all have a good week. Cheers.